Welcome to the hottest movie review on the internet today, the A-List Review. I'm your host, the Game Changer, Wes Truth. And this week we're going to be taking a look at 4 different movies, 1 new release in theaters, and 3 that have been released or will be released on DVD and Blu-ray. I'm going to be reviewing The Longest Ride, Wild, Big Eyes, and Men, Women, and Children. First up, ladies, pick up your cowboy hats and get ready to ride. Yeah, because this is my review of the latest romance movie to hit theaters, The Longest Ride. A bull riding champion meets a college art student at one of his events, and the two end up hitting it off. After a first date, they stumble upon an elderly gentleman trapped in his flaming car. They rescue him, and he ends up becoming friends with the young lady when she begins to read old letters and discuss the old days with his former wife. During this, will the bull rider's stubbornness and health come in between the new couple? So what did I think of The Longest Ride? Well, I might be handing in my man card for this one. I thought it's a decent romantic drama. It's based off of the best-selling book written by Nicholas Sparks, which according to some loud fangirls in my theater, has some differences. As far as the Sparks novel movies go, it's not up to par with everyone's favorite The Notebook, but it's miles better than the recent films such as Safe Haven and The Best of Me. Ooh. The story sees the tale of 2 couples, the cowboy and his new girlfriend, and the elderly man going back reminiscing about the past with the love of his life. I felt the 2 stories blended well together, and I didn't get more tired of one than the other. As you'd expect, there are some sad moments, but they're done well and not overly sappy or melodramatic. There's also a surprising amount of small, humorous moments, which were genuinely fun or cutesy. There's some hot makeout scenes, too, if you're into that. The cast stars Britt Robertson as Sophie Danko, the college student about to take an internship for her dream job when her life takes a turn. Scott Eastwood, who of course is Clint Eastwood's son, as Luke Collins, the professional bull rider making a comeback after suffering serious injuries, who becomes Sophie's boyfriend. Alan Alda as Ira, the man Luke and Sophie save and befriend. Jack Houston as young Ira, as seen in flashbacks, whose life changes after coming back from war. Una Chaplin, who was Charlie Chaplin's granddaughter, as Ruth, Ira's wife, who collects art and desperately wants to start a family. Melissa Benoist as Marcia, Sophie's best friend. And Lolita Davovich as Linda, Luke's mom trying to get him to hang up his boots. Is it predictable? Sure. But it's not as cheesy or as full of bull, as you might expect. Just sit back and enjoy. I also expect attendance records to go up at bull riding events. I'm gonna give The Longest Ride the rating of do it. Yeah, I did not expect to give it that rating at all. I did not expect to enjoy it one bit, but I actually had some fun. It's compared to the romantic movies I've seen in the last 2-3 years, this is probably one of the better ones. I've seen some crappy ones the last few years, so I guess anything that's even remotely good will stand out. And like I said, this is one of the best Nicholas Sparks adaptations I've seen in a long time. So there's that. Yeah, so if you're looking for a date night movie, definitely think of The Longest Ride. Britt Robertson, I thought her voice was going to be annoying by seeing her in this and the Tomorrowland trailer, but I thought she actually did a pretty good job, and she was definitely not annoying. She's cute. And Scott Eastwood I thought was good. He's gonna, I think he'll be a star. He's got the look, he's got the talent, for what this is at least. I mean, he's not going for an Oscar or nothing, but they have good chemistry. So yeah, surprisingly, I I give this one a positive review. Alright, up next, a movie that got a lot of buzz this past awards season, and it was just released last week on Blu-ray and DVD. Should you pick it up? Should you not? I'm gonna let you know. Here's my review of the Reese Witherspoon film, Wild. After the loss of her mother and a tough divorce, a young woman decides to hike over 1,000 miles on the Pacific Crest Trail as a trip of redemption. So what did I think of Wild? I thought it's an honest and powerful drama. It's based on the memoir written by the hiker herself called Wild, From Lost to Found on the Pacific Crest Trail. Obviously, the movie mostly takes place on the trail, seeing the heroine dealing with rough weather, keeping control of her rations, coming face to face with animals such as snakes, an interesting fox, and even a llama, and having a terrible mishap with her hiking boots. Along the way, she comes across a few friendly and sketchy strangers. The other half of the film is an emotional character backstory showing the bad decisions she made after her mother passed away, such as cheating on her husband multiple times and becoming a heroin addict. Reese Witherspoon had gotten a lot of buzz this past award season for starring as Cheryl Strayed, the hiker looking to start a new life when the trip concludes after a series of setbacks. Witherspoon does her best work since her Oscar-winning performance in Walk the Line, and definitely earned her nomination here. Also in the cast, Laura Dern as Bobby, Cheryl's mother, who suffered abuse from her ex-husband but became somewhat of a free spirit. Her performance also was considered for Best Supporting Actress. Thomas Sadowski plays Paul, Cheryl's ex-husband, Keen McRae as Leaf, her younger brother, and Gabby Hoffman as Amy, Cheryl's best friend. Wild not only is an intriguing, rugged journey, but also inspirational. I'm going to give it the rating of do it. Yeah, I saw this back when it came out in theaters. I thought it was a good movie. It wasn't great, I thought. Stand out, but I liked Reese Witherspoon's performance. I liked a lot of the moments on the trail. Horror, I can't even imagine going on that journey, so props for that. And now a movie that's releasing this coming week on DVD and Blu-ray. It got some buzz, not a whole lot of buzz in award season, but it got some. It's directed by Tim Burton and stars Amy Adams and Christoph Waltz. What a team. My review of Big Eyes. One of the biggest painters of the late 50s and early 60s, Walter Keane, who was known for his paintings of children with big eyes, actually didn't paint anything at all. Margaret was the actual artist, and Walter ended up conning everyone into thinking it was his work, as women artists were not taken seriously at the time. So what did I think of Big Eyes? I thought it's an alluring drama based on a true story. Tim Burton directs the film and thankfully plays it mostly straight. The sets from the 50s almost reminded me of a lighter version of the Edward Scissorhands neighborhood. The story sees Margaret basically being forced into their marriage, Walter opening a gallery of the Big Eye portraits and taking credit for them, and Margaret finally getting fed up and creating a different style and saying it's her own work. After a failure at the 1964 World's Fair, secrets begin to unravel and things get worse as Walter loses it and becomes abusive, leading to a fantastic courtroom finale with the Keanes against each other for the rights of the paintings. Amy Adams does great work as Margaret, the actual painter who has threatened to keep her mouth shut and paint. Christoph Waltz is spot on as always as Walter, the somewhat eccentric con artist who becomes famous. Also in the cast, Kristen Ritter as Deanne, Margaret's best friend, Terrence Stamp as a dead serious critic from the New York Times, Danny Houston as a gossip columnist who brings Walter into fame, and Jason Schwartzman as a gallery owner. While I thought I'd like Big Eyes, it's an entertaining romp I ended up really enjoying. I'm going to give it the rating of A-list approved. Yeah, it gets the A-list seal of approval. I went in thinking, like I said, I thought I would like it, but I actually really had a good time. And that courtroom scene was one of the best scenes of 2014, entertainment value-wise. I really did enjoy that scene. It's really funny, and a lot of the stuff in Big Eyes is better than I thought it would be. And like I said, Tim Burton doesn't go overboard with his direction. It's, sand snakes don't come out of the ground or anything, sandworms or whatever. But definitely, if you're on the fence about seeing Big Eyes, if you think, definitely rent it. And finally, this movie had been sitting on because of the move mostly, on my shelf for the last 2 months. and I finally got a chance to watch it. I finally can get more Netflix movies now. I just never got around to watching it, but I'll let you know, was it worth having it sit on the shelf for 2 months, or was it a must-watch? This is my review of it came out last October, I believe, and came to DVD back in January. I got it in February, but just watched it the other night. This is my review of Men, Women, and Children. A film that follows a group of high school teens as well as their parents and shows the problems they're suffering through in the age of the internet. So what did I think of Men, Women, and Children? I thought it's an honest drama. The film is directed by Jason Reitman, who brought us such great projects as Juno and Up in the Air. It covers hot topic issues going on in the current society. We see teen girls worried about having sex to look popular, as well as suffering from eating disorders. There's also commentary on kids watching internet porn and playing video games. Parents are thrown under the bus as well here, showing them deciding to want to have affairs, play against each other in games on iPads while they're in bed, and getting too involved in their kids' personal lives. Okay. I felt very old when the kids have an assignment to interview someone who remembers the September 11th attacks. Yeesh. We're also taken out of the story every now and then to see the Voyager in space in what I would call somewhat of a Tree of Life moment. Let's not go back to Tree of Life. The large cast stars Caitlin Dever as Brandy, a teen having to deal with an uberly overprotective mother and wants the privacy normal kids have. Ansel Elgort as Tim, Brandy's new friend and former high school football player who quit the team after his mother left him and his father for a man in California. Olivia Krochika as Hannah, a teen who poses in her lingerie on a pay website and dreams of becoming famous. Travis Tope as Chris, a football player who becomes addicted to fetish porn and can't have regular sex. And Elena Camporis as Allison, a cheerleader who's struggling with an eating disorder. The adults include Jennifer Garner as Patricia, Brandy's Nazi-like mother who checks all of her emails, Facebook, and text messages and ends up going way too far at the end. Adam Sandler and Rosemarie DeWitt as Chris's parents, who seems to be growing apart. Judy Greer as Hannah's mom, who takes and posts the pictures of her daughter for men to gawk at. J.K. Simmons as Allison's dad, who's unaware of her weight problems. And Emma Thompson as the narrator. Men, Women, and Children may not be a life-changing experience for viewers, but it definitely has something to say and gives us elements to think about. I'm going to give it the rating of do it. This is a pretty good movie. When it comes to social commentary about the internet, I felt the movie Disconnect that came out a couple years ago was a little more powerful. But this one focuses more on the teenage aspect of that. This is like a disconnect for the teenage crowd. It definitely makes you think, oh wow, I do that, or I would never do that, or whatever. It's one of those movies that makes you think about the technology that's come into our lives these last few years, and definitely parenting. So I would recommend Men, Women, and Children. Surprisingly, that is all positive reviews, and I really didn't think I'd be giving a positive review to every one of these movies. But yes, this is also the first time Adam Sandler has done a good job in a movie in a long time, since I don't even remember. Alright, well that does it for this week. Next week I will be back with my reviews of Paul Blart Mall Cop 2, oh boy, of joy of joys, as well as Unfriended, the newest horror film to hit theaters, and possibly Monkey Kingdom. We're gonna monkey around next week, yeah. As well as the review of the classic film The Sound of Music, which is coming back into theaters next week, and also Friday, the hit film from the 90s. That's also making a comeback into theaters on 4/20. Gee, I wonder why. Until next time, don't forget to subscribe to me right here on YouTube. YouTube.com/WestsideOf515. Like me on Facebook. Facebook.com/WestTroopAlist. You can follow me on the Twitter and the Instagram at WesAlist. Tell me how much you're gonna make fun of me for actually liking The Longest Ride, you know, whatevs. And of course, you can pick up my book, The A-List Review 2014 Movie Yearbook. Also 2013 and 2012 if you're interested. Over 150 reviews, only $10. Contact me through Facebook or Twitter if you're interested. Until next time, Troop out.